that may be part of it. Part of it is like they look at what sells. So if they're looking for what sells, they're going to go for what's mainstream because that makes the most money. But I do think not a lot of people know about it or know that much about it, and that's part of what we're trying to do here is inform people like, hey, this is actually bigger than some people think, and for some people, we're telling them, hey, this is a thing. They don't even know it's a thing. Like I say, and not only is it a thing, it's a fun thing. It's a great way to express yourself, you know, like through that medium. And of course, the people who are best at it are people who can rap, who happen to be nerdy, and they rap about the nerdy stuff they like. Because there's also your people who are nerdy and say, hey, I want to rap. Doesn't work out usually quite as well. I mean, quality-wise, now the thing is, by all means, they can still do it, and some people love it, and some people, you know, have great success with it. But as far as you're going for quality of rap, that usually isn't the best, or it isn't as good of a quality rap as people who rap and you decide, hey, I'm going to rap about this nerdy stuff, and people will say, I'm nerdy, I'll rap now. And I'm just like, okay, I guess that's what you want to do.
Would you consider like Childish Gambino, like his earlier work, not this recent one, kind of nerdcore? Because he talks a lot about it.
Well, he's, I'd say more nerd influenced than nerdcore because while he does reference it, you know, have people like Lupe Fiasco, he references video games and stuff like that a lot. Like they wouldn't be nerdcore because they don't really spend their time on that. Because if you think of it, like the crux of most of his songs aren't really about anything nerdy. They'll just make references to it. So basically, these are nerdy rappers who rap about your, you know, like I guess general topics instead of, you know, nerdy rappers who rap about nerdy things. So it's like I said, it's just right on that different edge.
Yeah,
I think it's like safe to I don't know, not really pick a genre to stick to because you like, I don't know if like for instance, I don't plan on being a rapper or anything, but if I was gonna be a rapper and like I wouldn't want to like just say I'm a nerdcore guy because then I'd want to rap about other topics, you know what I mean? And
I think that is the beauty of it too. Is like you can do that, and yeah, the nerdcore label. It can limit you in some aspects. It can limit you in some realms, but like at the same time, like if the one thing that's cool about nerdcore is it's not limited to you have to talk about this fandom or you have to talk about you know this not being the cool kid. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like it's one of those interesting things where you can definitely make it what you want it to be. But I mean, like you definitely don't have, you definitely aren't bound by like, you know, sticking to fandom or a whatever it is that you feel super nerdy about. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, like a good example would be like Samus. You know what I'm saying? Like Samus, the thing about her is she doesn't really talk about like Metroid a lot. Like, you know what I'm saying? For real, like if you listen to a lot of her music, there's a lot of her music you hear in person. So it's like she like drops things here and there and like whatnot, but like the majority of her music is more about like her journey and you know her finding out herself and everything like that. And so if you ever heard, if anyone hasn't heard Samus, I strongly advise you to listen to her because she's a great artist. She's incredible. So yeah.
What it comes down to is if you do it enough to stay within the genre. So basically, like you get the label because you're affiliated with it, not because you're confined to it. That's really kind of where it is. Like for instance, like some of his best songs, I'd say, are songs that are just about life instead of the ones that are about necessarily like say ones like you just saw. Like you know, like I'd say that's some of his best work. And that's the same case especially like with Samus. Most of her work isn't even about something nerdy; it's just about her life. But when
that one to me was kind of about life. He was talking about you need to, you know, the light and the dark side to excel in life. You know?
Oh yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like the thing is, that's really what a lot of it is. Like you don't have to just talk about nerdy stuff to do that. But it's that basically when you're not talking about that, what you're not talking about is you know clubbing or drinking or money or all the other little mainstream subjects that you hear a lot now. Like I said, when you're not doing that, and instead what you're talking about is you know video games or you know or shows you like or something like that. That's what puts you in the nerdcore because when you're not talking about life, what are you talking about? Nerdy stuff.
Food.
Yeah, you can do that if you want to.
True. I mean, no.
Okay, you can be a food nerd. That's what a foodie pretty much is.
Food porn. Yes. So another thing about nerdcore is, so rap and video games are probably about the same age right about now. If you think about
that, right about it, they've always been the same age. They don't change ages over time. That's not how aging works.
one might be like 1 year, one might be like 2 years.
Chronology goes like in sync like that. I don't know what kind of timelines you work with, Barry. Okay, Barry Allen. But yeah, so
Movie and time.
yeah. But yeah, so video games and rap are the same age.
what if video games rebooted?
They would still be the same age.
Go ahead, I'm just messing with you. Go ahead.
Rap started in the 70s. Your earliest video games was in the 70s. As both of those picked up steam, you started to now dive into producers like, hey, I think I want to try something different because I've sampled a lot of old school artists who've done songs. What else can I sample?
So in fact, Juice, tell them a little bit about chiptunes and how that got,
All right,
mixed in there.
So originally, and I was just kind of refreshing myself on this last night. The first time that we actually hear looped music was in games that were like Space Invaders. Like Space Invaders was like the first game that actually, and it came out I want to say 78. It was the first game that actually had a looped soundtrack to it, because before then you had a game that I'm trying to remember the name of it. I want to call it like Gunsmoke or Smoke and Gun or something like that. But no, it's like it was like a western, and the only thing that they had at the end of it was like when you killed a guy or like you killed your opponent, it would just play the do 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 do, and that was it. Like other than that, like it was just the sound effect of the gunshot. But Space Invader was the first time that the chips that were used to like make music were able to loop, and so from there you started to like have game sounds like advance more and more over time. But it's really cool, because I'm gonna just focus on just hip hop and how many people have used samples and how many interesting songs have been popped in or have been sampled in video games. And some of the things that I thought were cool was I don't know if how many people are familiar with Bone Thugs and Harmony? Anybody? Okay, so fun fact here. Everybody knows the song Crossroads, right?
It's back to the fun.
It's gonna be fun, damn it. All right. Anyway, so the song Crossroads, right? Okay, that song, not that song that you hear that everybody's familiar with. The actual original version of it is a sample from a Sega game called Eternal Champions. And the Eternal Champions is one of the miscellaneous
So the first time you saw Blade too.
But one of the samples is actually from that game. So, and I actually had it on my hard drive here, but you didn't pull it up on my hard drive or anything like that, because probably we're in an awkward position, so I can't look and find it for myself.
Yeah, I'll pick the seating. I got here third.
This is true. This is true. The folder is called Where Beats Meet Geeks.
This folder right here? I actually put Where Geeks Meet Beats.
Where Geeks Meet Beats.
You transpose that.
Whatever.
So I guess he's gonna play this song now.
So what are you playing, the Eternal Champions one first?
Can't you play it?
Nah, he's not gonna play it right now because for some reason he used Windows Media Player.
Yeah.
Who uses Windows Media?
Apparently he
Right.
does.
This guy. I don't understand.
Get your VLC up or something, man.
Have it.
VLC,
It's
man.
crazy.
It's on there somewhere.
Hold on, you're using Windows Groove Music? What are you doing, man? Oh, wait. Oh, just so you know, this guy works in IT for a living.
Worse, seriously.
Man, I hope nobody.
Everybody's got a quirk.
You might get a demotion.
I had it on here. Oh well, it's not on there.
Okay, well, apparently we're not able to play this song right now because you got QuickTime on there, though.
Oh my god. Really?
I got YouTube.
QuickTime still exists?
Seriously.
I didn't know that.
So let the record show. Let the record show that I was prepared.
I don't hear this.
And Tez and his Windows Media reliability was not.
So you only got Winamp.
Wow.
But I don't have any llamas either.
Oh man.
Red pajamas?
That just hurts. That just hurts.
Go ahead.
So anyway, so just finish telling them about the song since you can't play it.
Since I
I'll
can't
find a way to play it.
for whatever reasons.
Sing it to us.
No.
You like honestly, your ears will thank him for not singing to you.
Seriously, I'm a horrible singer.
Don't do that to me.
I'm a horrible singer. So
Swing low.
Baritone.
He actually can sing.
Yes, he can.
I'm sorry.
yeah, so but
Somebody didn't turn off their phone.
yeah, I'm sorry.
See what I gotta put
Go
up
ahead,
with?
go ahead.
So
See
Fun
what I gotta
fact,
put
none
up
of them
with
drink.
here.
but anyway, going back to the whole the music thing though, but there's a lot of different major artists that have sampled different songs. Another one was a group called the Cocoa Brothers. They were actually the first to sample like a major video game and put it out for a single, and that was had a song called Super Brooklyn where they sampled the Super Mario Brothers Underground theme.
Level 1, 2.
Yeah, level 1, 2. So yeah, and unfortunately you can't hear that because
That won't play either.
none of them will play because even though they're MP3s, your Windows
I would
Media
think it
Player-
would matter, but
Yeah.
it's like something like that.
YouTube.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna
but do
keep
that.
trying it
Takes a while to
because
come up.
Windows Media Player is
Oh,
better
better.
than
man, this is terrible.
Okay, so
They don't have the right
anyway,
code.
yeah, that song came out I think about what 96, 97.
Yeah. So that was that.
And that was actually started like the advent of like sampling different video game themes because you had like a song what was it, like Beanie